Alright guys, one more video of QB prospects and we are done. One more video here. Can we find that true blue QB sleeper? We're going to start with Clayton Tune. This is a guy who a lot of Seahawks fans have actually approached me to discuss. Houston Cougar, 24 years old. Good size, 6'2½", 220 pounds, 31 and 3/8 inch arms, 9 and 3/8 inch hands. Passable athleticism. 4'6", 440, 155, 10-yard split, 37.5 inch vert, 10 foot 2 inch broad, 6'8", 3 cone. That's pretty good for a quarterback. I don't know when a quarterback needs to run a 3 cone, but change of direction's all right, I guess. PFF and CBS like him quite a bit. They have him in the 5th. That's actually about where the aggregate has him, but a couple of these big boards have him in the 6th or 7th. Hyper productive these last 2 years, 27 games. 7,600 yards, 70 touchdowns, 20 picks, 68% completion, and he also became more of a weapon with his legs last year, ran for over 540 yards, so he's a threat in that area now too. And that production has made him one of the hotter commodities among day 3 quarterbacks. He's got a lot of college experience. I think he started like 4 seasons for Houston. He does have a little bit of, he's not a dual threat, but he is able to make positive things happen with his legs. Positive things happen with his legs. He's a good leader, one of the leaders of that Houston team for sure. If he's allowed to work from the pocket, he's very good from the pocket. He goes through his progressions really well, and he gets the ball out quickly, so he processes information and runs things like an NFL offense does, typically. He can extend plays. He's not Lamar Jackson, but he is able to extend the play with his legs and go off script a little bit and still make a play. I think he's really smart. He processes information well. So, a lot of positive things. Unfortunately, this is going to be another one of these college quarterbacks, and there seems like every draft has a bunch of these guys. You like everything about them, but they don't have a big arm. They have a weak arm. He can't push it down the field, and he can't gun it into tight windows. So it's another Brock Purdy situation. Yeah, he's got a lot of good things. This guy's probably a little bit more appealing than Brock Purdy because he's a better athlete, and he produced more. But he still doesn't have the arm, and that's going to put a very low limit on what your offense can do as long as he's your quarterback. So on top of that, the system at Houston was very pass-friendly, very quarterback-friendly, and was a big reason why they put up those numbers. That stuff is not going to cleanly translate over. So the enthusiasm with Clayton Tune does diminish significantly when you see his arm, but everything else still makes this a fun player. So I'm willing to overlook the arm talent a little bit here because he brings so many other good things to the table, but not to a significant degree. I would take him in the 5th. That seems like a good compromise here. I don't like him as much as DTR and Dugan because those guys have bigger arms and can make more throws and can make all the throws. But this guy seems to be the best of the guys who don't have the big arms. Like he brings a little bit of mobility to the table. He's a good leader. He's accurate. He can extend plays. He's smart. It's enough. It adds up to the point where I'm like, okay, I'll take him in the 5th round and develop him as, maybe he ends up on a practice squad at some point. I don't know how desirable he would be on the open market, but you take him and you develop him from scratch, kind of. All right, so that's Clayton Tune. Next up, we have Jake Haener. Kind of similar feelings about him, somewhat. Not quite the same, but Fresno State quarterback. We're a little familiar with him because he's a former Husky, 24 years old, 6 feet tall, 207 pounds, little bit on the small side, not even 30-inch arms, 9 and 3/8 inch hands, 35-inch vert, 9 foot 6 inch broad, mixed, 7-second 3 cone, okay, pretty good. Well, actually, that's a little better than okay. That's pretty good, but not really known for his athleticism, but he's got a little bit. ESPN really likes him. They have him in the 3rd. We got the 4th. We got 5th. The aggregate currently has him in the 5th and 6th round range. He missed a couple games last year, so he didn't have the big breakout year, but he was still efficient. Completed 72% of his passes, 20 touchdowns, 3 picks, protected the ball pretty well. The year before, he had 4,100 yards and 33 touchdowns. Not really doing anything with his legs, though. Not a lot of production in that area. So Jake Haener, kind of another quarterback who in a perfect system, yeah, he's going to be able to do stuff. Like, he's got good character, he's tough, he's willing to play through injury. He is able to extend the play. He's able to occasionally make a play with his legs. It's pretty rare. I think it's even more rare than Clayton Tune, but I do think there's a little bit there. He's not Tanner McKee. He's got good mechanics on his release. He gets the ball out fast, and he has good accuracy. So another guy who I look at and I go, that's a Shanahan quarterback. Shanahan could make him good, but otherwise, too much to overcome. He can add touch on the ball when appropriate. He can throw on the move. There is a little bit of playmaking ability to him that you don't find with guys like Aiden O'Connell. But once he tries to throw the ball deep down the field, no accuracy, not going to be able to push the ball down the field, doesn't have the arm talent of a truly elite prospect. His arm is not terrible, but it's not good. He is small, and that's going to affect him. He's already missed games in college because of injury. That's only going to get worse. He's too small, and he's already a little bit on the older side. So I like him. I don't have a ton negative to say about him other than the fact that he's small. But like Bryce Young, I think being small is kind of a big deal. He's going to take NFL hits, and then what? It's the same thing I felt about Jaren Hall. But Jaren Hall, at least, I felt like had upside to do the things that you need an NFL quarterback to do. Jake Haener doesn't have that upside. I think his arm is a little bit worse, and I think his athleticism is a lot worse. But there's enough going on here to make me feel like if you got him in the 5th round as a steady backup, yeah, you're going to be crossing your fingers a little bit if he ever goes in. But I would take him in the 5th, maybe the 6th, somewhere around there. I'd say that would be about worth it. Not crazy about him, but I like him more than a guy like Aiden O'Connell or Stetson Bennett, I suppose. All right, one more guy, and this is the true sleeper. Like, if this guy becomes something in the NFL, wow. Like tip your cap. Tyson Bagent of Shepherd. Yeah, if you've never heard of Shepherd, it's a Division II school. So this guy's following in the footsteps of Steve McNair, I guess. But he's nowhere near that good. 23 years old, 6'3", 213 pounds, 30 and 1/8 inch arms, 9.5 inch hands. And here's the thing. A big part of his game in college was based around his mobility and ability to extend plays in the pocket. And he went to the combine and he showed off a 4.8 40. Okay, that's a little bit of a concern. Slow acceleration, almost a 1.6 10-yard split. Decent athlete, though. 36-inch vert, 10-foot broad is okay. 6.933 cone and a 4.36 20-yard shuttle. I mean, okay. A little bit of positive athletic traits. Sports Illustrated thinks he'll go in the 4th. Good luck with that. The aggregate has him getting drafted right now, but barely. And his production at Shepherd, which is kind of a silly thing to look at, but it's all we have. He gave you 30 games, 9,600 yards, just shy of 100 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, 69% completion, and just barely positive on his rushing yards. So he threw for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns, Bailey Zapp style, I guess. Maybe that's the template here. I don't know. What I will say about Tyson Bagent is that he's got a strong arm and can make all the throws. This is not a typical noodle arm Division II guy. That's what makes him viable in the NFL potentially. He can make all the throws. He can push it down the field. So right away you can't dismiss him as being a Division II noodle arm. He doesn't have the noodle. That makes me at least interested in theory. He's really good at extending plays. Shepherd's offensive line was basically jailbreaking constantly, and Tyson found ways to escape pressure and make plays pretty much 20, 30 times a game, it felt like. He is willing to make aggressive throws down the field. He's not somebody who's just going to play scaredy cat all the time. He's going to put his receivers in positions to go up and make a play. Really good throwing on the run. And he did show some upside in ability to read defense at the college level. But all of these things that I'm talking about in the positive, it's inconsistent. It's very inconsistent. His mechanics are a disaster. His decision-making occasionally gets away from him. And he's going to have to be severely coached up to have any chance in the NFL. The fact that he was so slow and me not really that explosive at the combine makes me feel like he may not be very good at escaping pressure and being mobile at the NFL level. Like, again, it's the difference between Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield. Russell Wilson was actually fast. Baker Mayfield was significantly slower, even though he looked like he could do the Fran Tarkenton stuff. He couldn't. Tyson Bagent is probably going to have those same problems. He's just much slower than expected, I think. The competition that he played in college was obviously horrendously weak, and he was running a quarterback friendly system at Shepherd that will not fly in the NFL. It's a massive learning curve for him to overcome, and I seriously doubt that he'll be able to do it. But because he has the NFL arm, I'm going to go ahead and put a seventh round grade on him. I wouldn't say I'd spend a seventh round pick on him if there's somebody there I like better, but I don't think he's just a pure UDFA because he does actually have that NFL arm talent. It's not an elite arm, but it's a true blue NFL caliber arm. And I think he has a chance because of it. All right, that's my evaluation of the quarterbacks of this draft. We ended up doing what, like 15 guys in total, if I am counting correctly. So there aren't a ton, but there are some very interesting guys in this class. Let me know what you think. Do you think any of these guys could be the sleeper? Tomorrow we're going to move on to a new position. Tomorrow we are moving on to another position on the offense, and it's just going to be a 2-day deep dive, but it's going to be a dive nonetheless in a position that could be interesting to the Seahawks in 2023. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Should be live on Twitch later.